Hi guys, it's Tammy, and if you caught this a second ago, I'm sorry. I'm a little bit of a hot mess. I totally forgot it was Tuesday. I don't know where I was. Anyhow, I'm going to pop on. I got carried away because I was making these fun cards that are going to go to our booth. And the reason I've been doing cards is, have you seen the price of cards? It's like ridiculous. So I'm going to show you a quick card so that you can possibly do one for your mom for Mother's Day. This is another one of the cards I just did. These I did with the acrylic washes and ink. I'm going to do this one just a little differently. So I wanted to give it a background, but I wanted to leave a little space blank. And I didn't like as wide as the tape was, so I folded it over. I have no idea if this is going to work or not, but we're going to try it. So I'm going to make my background kind of a pretty, how about this mermaid color? No, because that's going to be too close to my, I've changed my mind. We're going to go with a little bit of a peony pink. And I'm just going to squirt a little bit out of my plate and take a big brush, like a 3/4 inch brush. And I'm not going to do this a solid base color. I'm going to leave some water in my brush, taking some of it off by putting it on my paper towel. And then I'm just going to give this a quick wash in between the tape. Probably should have cut the tape in half, but yeah, you know what? When you forget what you're doing, you go with the flow. And my afternoon is like a hot mess today. Not in a bad way, just lots and lots going on. And I really should be doing all sorts of things, and I got carried away just painting this morning. That's okay. So all I did was put this color on, and I'm going to peel off my tape. And I don't have perfect lines, but that's okay. I still have a little bit of a background, different background, because I'm going to throw that tape away. I can take a liner brush and just very, very carefully touch up any of those edges that are bothering me. But you're not going to notice it when we get done putting everything on. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and create a pot of sorts. I think I'm going to make this one kind of look like a bit of a galvanized pot, so maybe a little white and a little black to make a gray. I've got white out, I don't have black out. And again, I'm not using a complete wash, but I'm keeping extra water in my brush. So I've just created a gray, and I'm just going to come across here, a little bit of a circle, and then I'm going to come down a little bit of an angle, pick up a little more paint, just a little more water in my brush. Not seeing comments, so if you do pop on, just say hi, and maybe I'll see you, and maybe I won't. Facebook's been very interesting lately with showing us our comments, or more realistically, not showing comments. But I always go back and look, and that way I can take time and answer questions or respond to what you had to say. All right, so I'm just going to fill this in with a little bit of black. I'm trying to clean up my line. I'm going to pick up a little bit of, excuse me, a little bit of a blue, and I'm just going to create my table. So my pot is sitting on something. I always think homemade gifts are nice in general, but for some reason, especially Mother's Day. And like I just said, I was just astounded when I had to go buy a couple cards, and I was doing it on the way to the place I needed to give the person the card to, so I couldn't go back and make my own. But they were like $6, $7, $8, $9, and it was like, no. We can make our own cards. They can be pretty. All right, so I've started by putting just this little pot down, and I think I'm going to go ahead and give it a little bit of a back to And that way I can kind of fill that in, the potted area in with a little darker gray or black. And I'm going to go underneath where I created the round, semi-round, and that way it'll kind of look like it has a bit of a lip. And let's go down each side a little bit too, just to define the pot. I might pull little black lines in there. Let's give it a little shadow over this side. All right, so we have a pot. We need to put something in it. So let's find a green. This would be a good green to start with. I'm going to do a couple greens, but you know my normal greens are the Hauser medium, light, and dark. This one is Hauser medium. So I'm just going to take a round brush and I'm just going to give it some up and down strokes of color, picking up a little more water in my brush so it flows a little bit better. I'm losing my voice too. This is very interesting today. I'm going to be putting some flowers in here. So I'm going to just make sure I've got some good greenery coming out of the pot. And I'll go ahead and pick up a little darker green. And I'm just going to pick up a little bit out of my paint here. And we'll fill in. If you want it to be skinnier when you're at the top, just lift and then it'll kind of. All right. I think I want a little light green in there too. If I don't have light green, I might have yellow around here. I should have light green. One would think I would. I do. Okay. Here's a little bit of Hauser Green Light. Going to do the same little stroke. Ooh, I got a little bit of green there. Picked it up. I'm just using watercolor cards that I get on Amazon. They come with their envelopes. They're relatively reasonable. And like I said, a nice handmade card is fun. Okay. I've kind of got this, we'll call it peachy reddish background, so I don't want to go with a red flower. I think we're going to go with a nice blue flower. I'll just use a blue like such. This is backwards for you. See if I can make it right. Nope. Doing this upside down is very hard. And yeah, Americana's primary blue. Sorry, guys. This is why I really should look at my calendar first thing in the morning. And perhaps then I would actually, sorry, guys. Know what I'm doing for the day. That's why I really should look at my. All right. We're still upside down. How are we upside down? There. Try that. This should be better. Anyhow, can you tell my plate? It's a hot mess today. And that's just for making cards. Okay. Move this stuff aside a little bit. Back. Here we go. All right. So I've got my greens in here. I'm going to come in with some blue. And like I said, this is just the primary blue. You could do this with yellow. You could do this with blue, with purple. It really wouldn't matter. So I'm just putting a little bit on the tip of my brush. And I'm going to start here, and I'm just going to tap. And I'm going to make these so they're taller than. Some of them might go a little taller than my greenery. Some of them might be just in there. And I'm going to make them kind of cone shape so they get a little narrower at the top. I'm going to do a couple of them like that. Tuck another one a little bit back in here. They might bend a little bit like flowers do. And if I'm doing more single flowers like this, I kind of like to make sure I've got an odd number. You don't have to. And you can tell I'm just kind of tap, 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 tap. Get a little narrower at the top. Now I still have this color on my brush. I'm going to go into a little bit of white, and I'm going to go back over. I'm going to tap it a couple times on my plate here and there, just going to lighten a little bit of it up. Give it a little, more than one color always gives you just a little more dimension to your painting. Hello, Nancy. It's so nice to see somebody here. I could actually see a comment. I appreciate that. All right. So we're just going to tap on a little of this white here. And then I'm going to rinse my brush real quick and go back with the greens just to make sure I'm covering up the bottoms of these so they look like they're tucked in. If you don't need to tuck it in, don't. You may have secured your flowers a little more tucked behind than I did. I'm just getting a little more of the green with a little bit of yellow. There's a couple extra little streaks here. All right, so we have this little cute little pot of flowers. I'm just going to add a little bit of white highlight to pick up white, taking most of it off my brush, and I'm just going to very lightly give it a couple little swipes of white across the top and just a couple in the pot. Again, just adding another color just helps give it another bit of dimension. But there you have a cute little card that you can easily turn around and use for Mother's Day, use for a birthday, an anniversary. It's different than what I was working on today, because today I was messing with the flowers that I do using the thinned acrylic and pen to get the detail on them. One of the techniques we are definitely going to be going back to when we're working with our blooming brushes, which is our membership that we just launched. And in fact, we are actually going to be meeting tonight for the very first time to introduce ourselves. I'm so excited. Anyhow, so I'm going to flip you back up really quick like. Hello. And hi, Sherry. Nice to see you. And thanks so much for popping on. If you have any questions, this is one that's so much fun because it doesn't need a pattern. If anything, you might find a tracer for the pot if there was something particular you were looking for. But really, make it yours. Make it yours. Give it a little bit of your own touch. I went ahead and did this straight with my paintbrush. You could always use a pencil to put your pattern on first. And so we did the stripes. And I just used painter's tape on there, and my stripes aren't even, but that's okay. And then just did the little gray pot, little pouncy flowers to fill it in, and it's very cheery and happy, and I hope you are too. So we will see if I can possibly find the finish button this time in a little more timely manner, and I will see you hopefully sometime again this week. And until I do, please be safe, be kind, and cheers. What do they do with my finish button?